All right, here we go. Live for the tube. Say what up, tube.
What up, tube?
All righty, and of course, for the podcast, last but certainly not least, here we go. Y'all ready to rock it and roll it?
Yeah, I was counting down for you. Go ahead.
You want to do the countdown this
time?
time?
No. I was just like, I usually like do the fingers while you say it.
All right, here we go. In 3, 2, and 1.
Welcome to another episode.
Hang on a second. Something's going on. No, it like totally froze up. Wow.
Oh. Well, Audacity did?
Audacity, like it had a freeze.
Well, YouTube, check it out. Like you guys get to see all these stuff.
All right, here we go. One more time. Ready?
All right,
3, 2, and 1.
Welcome to another episode of
Business Bros.
Oh, yeah. Happy Hump Day.
Hump Day.
Hump Day. Oh,
yeah.
It was
always a good day.
It was a little bit rough getting up this morning, but I popped up.
You popped up.
I did it. I heard a thing on my as I was running this morning. Maybe if you're having trouble popping up early in the morning, do like a NASA thing, like launching the rocket. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, get up. And rock it and roll it. Hernancia is here, host of the Business Bros podcast, along with my co-host,
the insurance bro, James C.S. with Pipeline Insurance. And as always, we have another amazing, fantastic show for you.
Fantastic.
That's you like that? Right. All right. Today's guest is, in the spirit of football, as versatile as a dual threat quarterback, a licensed attorney in the state of California, and an independent real estate agent. Broker and entrepreneur. Yep. Prepare to be dazed and amazed with an unmatched level of legal and real estate services with Duomo Realty Corporation. Please welcome Mr. John Case.
Pleasure, gentlemen. Thank you so much for having me.
He's good, huh?
Yeah, thanks for joining us, man.
Here, pull this thing a little closer.
There we go.
Yeah.
Can you hear me a little better?
There we go. That's good.
Yeah, in like 10 seconds of, hey, what do you do? And then he like writes up this magic.
It really is magic.
Yeah.
I love it.
For those of you who haven't had the pleasure of coming on the show yet, it's this little awkward silence before the show where James sits there awkwardly and we look at him and he's just typing away. But then he comes up with that magic, right?
Yeah, no.
It's amazing.
The Pat Mahomes of real estate. Look at that.
Pat Mahomes.
Dang.
He just called you a rookie.
Sophomore.
It's a sophomore. Second year.
Actually, it might even be his third. I'm pretty sure he's been in the league 3 years.
But
he was just kind of red-shirting, if you will, behind Alex Smith.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Anyway.
He's still MVP, though. Come on.
Yeah, that's my Mahomie right there. All right. Mr. Case on the case.
Yes,
wait.
Oh, 365 pairs of shoes, ladies and gents. If you got new shoes, used shoes, or you want to donate cash, hit James up 619-884-0045 or james@csfirst.com. And look, we updated the thermometer. We're at 264 pairs of shoes.
3 of those that just came from Mr. John Case himself.
Boom.
Trying to do my best, guys.
Thank you. Yeah, we appreciate every single donation. So, ladies and gents, if you got new shoes, used shoes, or you want to donate cash, hit James up. Reminder, Guy does insurance. We have an insurance agency. We want to increase your bottom line, help you get more dollars in from the book of business that you already have. So, if you need help with your homeowners, your life, whatever it is, we'll help you with that. If you want to add add insurance into your business, we can do that. And, of course, the sun is out. Gives you a lot of energy if and only if you have solar on your roof. So if you want to get solar, make sure you guys hit up dronequote.net/business bros. They'll come out, hover a drone over your roof, take measurements, send it out to the roofing contractor, send it out to the solar companies. Then you sit back, look at all the quotes you got, pick the one that works for you, and start making that sun put fun in your pocket, I guess. I don't know.
That was pretty good.
Something, right?
Yeah. It worked.
All right.
Look at you spitting rhymes.
Right? Dr. Seuss in it right there, right? All right, John, let's get into our conversation. Tell me a little bit about yourself. We spoke a little bit before the show. You're about my age, so we got through the adolescent years.
We did. We made it. We're here.
We're here. How did you decide to get into law and then all of a sudden real estate? What happened there?
Okay, so yeah, it kind of a interesting story. I originally started off as an attorney. I actually got my legal license 2011, so right around the crux of the economic downturn.
Things are starting to maybe bounce back a little bit.
Right. And so I got my degree from Ohio State, came back to California.
Buckeye.
I'm a Buckeye.
What?
OH.
I-O. Yep.
Yeah.
Started, putting my business together. Tried to get on with a couple of firms. That didn't work out, so I hung out my own shingle. And at that time, my mom was transitioning, becoming an independent broker herself. She was selling real estate with a different company, and she thought, you know what, I think I'm going to try to do this on my own. And she inquired, you know, would you be interested in maybe starting something together? I was like, you know what, that sounds like an interesting idea. For a little bit, I did both. So I was doing both the legal work and the real estate.
What kind of law?
I actually studied real estate law at Ohio State. Yeah, so whether landlord, tenant, commercial leasing, things of that nature. I always knew that I was going to go into real estate
somehow, some way.
Well, that's how people make money, right?
Yeah.
That's the reality. Most people, when they diversify their portfolio, one of the key things they do is put some money into real estate.
Whether residential or commercial, it doesn't matter.
Or both.
Or both, yeah.
You know, got to live somewhere.
Exactly.
So at that time, looking around, figuring things out, and started the company. But I couldn't really serve two masters at once. You know, the legal side, the real estate side, going back and forth, back and forth. Eventually, in 2014, kind of unwound my whole legal practice. I told my clients at that time I was actually negotiating some contracts for a travel company, and I told them, "You guys are my last legal client. I'm transitioning forward to real estate full time." At that point, took my exam. I had been a salesperson for a while, got my broker's license, and then became a full-time real estate broker in 2015. Been doing that ever since.
Dude, so let me ask you, like, I mean, both of those are technically like sales jobs. Like, you still had to go out and find clients on the law side. Then you had to transition, go out and find clients on the real estate side. What's that been like? I mean, what's your experience in generating new clientele?
You know, it's funny. If you would have asked me this question some years back, I would have given you a much different answer. But today, it's fun. That's the answer. It's fun. It took a while to learn the sales game, and I call it a game because it's got a set of rules. You have to figure things out. There is no set playbook, and so you have to go out there and through trial and error, and finding folks who can show you the way and figuring things out on your own. You can kind of start putting things together. So at this point, I don't think sales is a dirty word anymore. I love sales.
You've accepted it.
It's not. You know what? I'm not even accepted it. It's more of like it's become a part of me. You know what I mean? It's an integral part of what I do, and I like to take it to a level beyond just selling, because I think selling has a kind of an interesting connotation. Some people look down on it. Some people don't. Whatever, what have you. I like to think of myself as a broker of information, and I like to be able to present that information in a way where my clients understand exactly what it is that I'm saying, to help them fully make the best decision for themselves. That's really what I'm there to do. Well,
let's. I mean, I'm a big fan of like Zig Ziglar stuff, right?
I love Zig.
And he's one of those people who's like, look, you're a salesperson through and through. Like, you need to accept the fact that this is who you are. Now, how you approach the sale game is going to vary, right? Like, you can be the hard nose. I'm just going to call, grab you like a pit bull on your ankle and make you get you down until you buy. Or you can be the other one where you actually develop relationships, where you inform people, where you give people all the information. Look, the person you're talking to is already interested in buying. They've already made the decision that that's where they're going to go. You're just the one who's going to help them get to the finish line. So you got to provide them everything they need. You got to be able to listen to what they want and dig a little deeper to help them understand there are things that they may not even understand they want yet, and then provide the answers using your product or service.
And not just that. So if you really look at, well, number one, we live in a capitalistic society, right?
100%, yes.
So you go on Instagram, you're getting sold this. You go on Facebook, you're getting sold that. So we are inundated with sort of selling, and I think that's why sometimes people have such an adverse reaction to it. But the reality is, you're always selling. Honey, where do you want to go today to get dinner?
I don't know.
You want pizza? Do you want with a burger? Do you want to go? Where do you want to go for drinks? What do you want to do on vacation? Kids, I need you to do the homework. Hey, I need you to do this. So at the end of the day, you're always, whether you realize it or not, you're always trying to influence somebody to see things from your perspective, and hopefully help them see what you're offering and think, well, that might be a good option for me. Maybe you're not into pizza, but we can find a common ground and go into a burger joint, something to that effect. You know what I mean?
So funny you say that, man, because we often relate sales and that whole sales process to like dating, right? So you're constantly talking to somebody, you're trying to get that next date, trying to get the next date till they commit, till they get married, right? And if you really think about it like your spouse, I'll give you a perfect example. Yesterday, I was gonna make steaks. I didn't go to the store. I didn't get them. And the wife was like, you know what? I don't feel like, let's take a day off. Let's just get something to eat. And of course, she gives me like, go ahead, get whatever you want, right? And I understand because I've been with her long enough. I've asked enough questions. I had to dig a little deeper. I had to ask a little more. I had to, those pre-qualifying questions before you make a buying decision.
Right.
And so one of those, I was like, you need to be a little more specific, because if I ask the kids, they're gonna say Burger King, and I know you don't like Burger King, right?
Exactly.
But it's the same type of thing. Whenever you're talking to a client, they're like, I want a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, home under, 400,000. Well, that's great. Well, why? Right?
yeah. The why is so important.
The why is the most valuable. You're going to get way more information. You're going to understand, do I want a split level? Do I want a single level? Do I want, do I want a 2-car garage? Do I want a 3-car garage? Do I want to live in a cul-de-sac? Is the school area important? Why is it that you want stuff? Get to know your client. It is a dating process. You're not going to go from the day you meet to the finish line like that,
no.
Right? And if you do, that's not a long-lasting relationship. Don't get me wrong, in sales that happens.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, it just depends on what you're trying to accomplish, right?
Yes.
It depends on your goal. And it depends on sort of your style and what it is that you hope to achieve. With our company, we really are a relationship-based company. Like, most of our clients are folks who become friends, folks who we associate with long beyond the sale, not just the sale process, but beyond that. And they tell their friends and they tell their family. And so we really value that and honor that. And it's something that has kind of organically developed. It wasn't necessarily, I'll be honest, it wasn't necessarily our intention to do that, but it just developed that way. And so it's become an integral part of what we do. And trying to really understand the client's motivations, because to your point, I want to live on a cul-de-sac, but why? Well, I feel that the cul-de-sac offers me a level of safety. There's not going to be people driving through my neighborhood at 100 miles an hour. I'm going to feel okay letting my children play out in the front yard. I'm going to be able to tend to my yard and feel comfortable when I'm doing so, whatever the situation might be. So gaining that understanding, really understanding their perspective, allows me to then go into the marketplace and find them what they really want, as opposed to just saying, well, I just want like I said, a 3-2 in a nice neighborhood. Well, that doesn't really give me a lot. There's a lot of really nice neighborhoods. There's a lot of really great areas that you could call home. What is it about this particular thing that you're looking to achieve? Well, I want great schools. Okay, I'm starting to get it. Give me a little more. Well, no, I want these great schools. Now we're moving in a direction where I can.
Now
really
we're laser focusing here.
Right, exactly. So we start off broad and we start narrow. And I'll tell clients, look, especially on the buyer side, right? Hernan, what are you looking for? I'm looking for 3-2. Okay, I'm going to send you a bunch of homes to start. As a matter of fact, I'm going to send you way too many homes to start. Do me a favor. Just parse through the information that I'm sending you and pick out a couple of ones that you think kind of meet your needs, and then send them my way and let me look at them. Because what I'm going to start seeing is I'm going to start seeing patterns develop. I'm going to start seeing certain things come up between this one and this one and this one and this one. And then all of a sudden, I'm going to be a little more keen on what it is that you're looking for. And then give me feedback. John, the 50 that you sent me, none of them match the criteria. Okay, why not? What didn't you like? Well, this one was too close to the freeway. This one had too much noise. This one was single level and I want to. This one was too large. This one's too small. So slowly I take all that information and now we start to put together a profile of what it is that you're actually looking for that I can go out into the marketplace and
So is this something that you just knew right off the bat, starting real estate, this is how you're going to go? Or did you have to like fall on your face a couple times and figure it out?
So what at least with me, I've always been interested in sales. Right. To your point, even it's funny, as attorneys don't think of themselves as salespeople, but on some level you are. You have to get buy-in from your client. Hey, you're getting sued. This is probably the best course of action. You're going to go to jail. You should really consider these options. Like, part of what you're trying to do is advocate for your client, but also lay out things in a way where they can kind of make sense and make the best decision for themselves. Right. So you are selling in a way. And transitioning from that to now true sales, as far as 100% income commission based sales, we realized that we had to present something a little different than the rest of the marketplace. We're an independent broker where we don't have the name recognition, we don't have the brand or the marketing that some other firms might have. So how do you differentiate yourselves? You have to offer a higher caliber of service. I like to call ourselves the Rolls Royce of service. You're not going to find a better service company. Maybe you will. But you'd be hard pressed. You're gonna have to look. You're gonna have to look real hard. And I'm not saying that there aren't others out there, but I'd like to put ourselves up there with those caliber companies. And so, in order to do that, we had to refine our systems. We had to figure out really what can we offer you as the consumer that's gonna attract you to us. What can we present that you're like, damn, I want to work with John. That's like, he really gets me. He really understands what it is that I'm trying to achieve, and I can see he's working his butt off to do it. Let's work together. Let's see what more you can provide. So.
You know, when I talk to different people who are thinking about getting in business, people who've been in business, one of the lines I really like to use is, your purpose in business is to be of service to others, but your business's purpose is to make a profit.
Yeah.
Right. And so, you know, having an independent brokerage, not having the name recognition, you know, has its plus and minuses when it comes to operating as a business. What do you see as an ultimate goal in your particular practice? Do you see yourself as a large team? Do you see yourself as, you know, a couple agents that are close by? Where do you envision yourself going? So
right now the team is 4. We're a family-owned brokerage. So I work with my mom, my dad, and we have an agent in-house, and then we have some folks that come in and out to help with kind of ancillary tasks and things of that nature. So, but the core team is 4. In my mind, the way that the company sort of forms out and builds itself is, I call them eagles. I want eagles. I want people who understand the business, who love the business. Actually, you can't like it, you have to love it. This is a tough business. Real estate, it's funny. A lot of people will hear, hey man, you're a good speaker, you should be a realtor. Or hey, you know what, you're good with numbers, you should think about selling real estate. Or hey, you know, I saw you talking to those folks and you can build good rapport. Maybe you should look at sales. And once you get into it, you start to realize the sort of the difficulty of it in the day in and day out process of what it takes. And if you don't have a system, if you don't have a way of approaching things, and honestly, if you don't have the mentality, the advantage that I had, quite frankly, is that I literally willed my way through law school. Like, it was one of those things of where when I first, so let me take you back. This is a story of failure. I initially thought about going to law school when I was finishing up UCSD back in right around 2002, 2003. And the idea of becoming an attorney was this sort of far off nebulous concept of, like, I got my original degree in communication. So I thought, well, maybe if, and I wanted to go into TV and radio, you know, kind of something like this. And I said, well, maybe if that doesn't work out, I can always, one of my buddies, a really good friend of mine who I really respect, he said, you know what, if nothing else, you can look at other professions such as the law, for example. Maybe you could become an attorney. And at that time, I was like, yeah, me.
Okay, yeah, me, an attorney, whatever. Yeah.
And the folks who know me, you know what I'm talking about. So from there, I moved to Yuma, Arizona to pursue my television career. So I started off at KSWT Channel 13, originally hired on to be on-air talent, but eventually sort of shifted and went on the back end. I actually, we were talking about before the show, right? Production side. Yeah. So getting cameras ready, doing the 6 o'clock and 12 o'clock broadcast, or 11:30 right before, I think it was Letterman at the time. And started really understanding sort of that business and realized, man, I don't know if I can be in this business. The control that is sort of exerted by folks above me as to who makes it on air, who doesn't, and whether you'll be on camera or not. I didn't like that lack of control. I wanted to have a little bit more ownership.
You said this was like 2005?
So this would be 2004, yeah, 2003 to 2004.
So we're still babies in the internet phase. You know, the distribution in the internet world is not, it's not there yet.
There's no YouTube. There's no Vimeo. There's no video platforms. The internet at this point is like, what was it, Real Player? Yeah.
We were at Napster.
Oh God, I remember Real Player, Winamp, Napster.
Yeah, exactly.
It really kicks the llama's ass.
Yeah. So this is kind of the environment that we're in, and I decided to pack everything up. I was living at home. I said, you know what, I'm going back to San Diego. So I moved back to San Diego, and I find a job. I start working at a motorhome facility, C&D Motorhomes. I don't think they're around anymore, but it was on the corner of Convoy and Balboa. So started working in the service department. And basically, when you would bring in your motorhome, I was the guy that you'd come in and say, John, my toilet's not working. I need you to install a satellite. The pop-up is now, I can hear a crunching sound. And then you leave your motorhome with us. I'd go through the home. We'd fix everything up. And then I'd call her, and your property is ready, or your motorhome is ready to go. You can pick it up whenever. And I was really good at it. You know, my boss liked me. I moved up to the chain, but
Yeah, you had a communications degree, so yeah, it better work.
But the challenge was there was only so far you could go, right?
Yeah.
It was either I got to like assistant manager level, and then the only other position above that was my boss's job, which he wasn't going to give up.
Mm-hmm.
So then I was like, well, what do I want to do? And I remember sitting at the desk and seeing people coming in. And the people that were coming in with the big coaches, we sold luxury coaches, Monaco's.
Yeah, you're talking $250,000.
Oh, yeah, $500,000 coaches.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. So these were big buses, essentially.
That's my dream house, by the way.
And so people would come in, and I was kind of started taking stock of who are the people coming in. So we had athletes that own these rigs, like NASCAR and like funny car drivers, things like that. Folks who were like, you know, you see them parking on the pit and everything.
Yeah,
like that. There were attorneys, doctors, and other sort of high income earners that were coming through. And so I was like, I remember sitting being like, okay, how do I go from this side of the desk to that side of the desk? And so I remember getting out a notepad, and I still distinct, because it was a moment that kind of shaped everything getting to this point right now. I remember writing down like, okay, so athlete, I'm like, can't hit a baseball, can't dunk, no football. So, okay, sports
cross those off.
Yeah. Can't stand the sight of blood. Don't like dealing
Not
with
gonna be a doctor.
Can't be a doctor. And then right there was attorney. And I was like, you know, I wonder if I could be an attorney. It was still an idea, still sort of like this far off concept. So, but at that point, now enough time had lapsed where some of my classmates had gone and transitioned to law school. So I reached out to them and I said, hey, how did you do what you did? How did you get to where you are now? And they're like, well, you're going to have to prepare, you're going to have to take the exam, and then, you know, you're going to have to apply to the school. I said, okay. And so that was 2004. I didn't get accepted into law school until 2007.
So it's like 3 years in the making.
So what I started doing, I talked to my boss, and the one thing that I'm truly grateful for, his name's Keith. Keith was awesome in that he really supported me. I said, look, I don't think I'm going to stay with the company forever. I really have this idea that I can try to go to law school and try to make something of myself. And I don't want to quit because I need this, but at the same time, I don't necessarily think I'm going to be here for the long haul. Are you cool with that? He was like, yeah. He's like, as long as you get your work done, as long as everything stays the same, you're good to go. So I would study during my lunch breaks. I would come in early, get everything done, try to leave early as well because I was trying to take additional classes after work. And so geared everything up, figured out, you know, I got to take the LSAT. You were talking about PSATs earlier, right? To get ready for the exam. And first time around, you have the ability to submit a form and not get your score back if you don't want to know how you did. And so I remember taking the exam on Saturday, and then Monday morning I faxed in the form. I didn't want to know what I got.
Why?
So because I knew, you know.
Yeah, there's times when you know, but I would think knowing exactly how well, like, you know, I was having this conversation with kids today, and I was talking about how you can, you know, most of us are gonna end up average. That's the whole point of being average, is that it's the majority of people. It's an average, right? An average income earner in California is gonna be at 65,000. I would want to know, am I below or am I above? Like
I was below.
Well, but how far below?
You didn't want to know how much below.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
you didn't want to know.
So, but it was a learning experience. I had gone through the process. I kind of knew what to expect. So then from there, kept studying, took it again. This time I kept the score, and I applied with that score. And the score wasn't good. But I was like, I don't care. I'm going to apply anyway, right? So at that point, I wanted to stay local. So there's 3 law schools here in San Diego, USD, Cal Western, Thomas Jefferson. So I applied to all 3. And I'm like, let's see if I can make it happen here. Right off the bat, USD was, thank you for your application, Mr. Case, but unfortunately, Cal Western was a little kinder. They were like, you know, we looked at your application, but yeah, no. And then Thomas Jefferson kept me on the hook. They kept me on the hook for a little bit. So they said,
they gave you hope.
They did, and hope can be a kind of, you know, a dangerous thing. And they said, we're not accepting you, we're putting you on the wait list. So if somebody above you, you're like wherever you are, like I think I was like number 7 or 8. So there are set folks that have been accepted already, and then there's you. So if anybody ahead of you, because people apply to
Yeah.
multiple universities.
Yeah,
Right? They
so you know if they're gonna go with this one or not.
Exactly,
Yeah.
and most people hedge their bet. So I'm apply here, and then I'll make a decision once I figure out what to do, right? So then I'm like, okay, cool. So then I'm waiting, and
But now you're waiting for somebody to fail.
well,
or somebody to leave.
or make a different decision, right?
Make a different choice.
Again, I'm losing control, right? Part of what I wanted to do was have
maintain control.
and all of a
Yeah.
sudden it's like, I'm out of control. So waiting, and we're starting to go into the summer, and they're like, hey, we don't have any news yet. So I call, and I got to the point. It's so funny. I got to the point where the admissions office kind of knew who I was because I kept calling.
Mr. Case,
yeah,
we don't have any updates for you.
No, seriously, that's
feel free to try next week.
Mm-hmm.
Not tomorrow, sir.
and
Next week.
And then a week became 2 weeks became three, and then all of a sudden it's like, guys, like the semester's starting. Like, what's going on? And then at the end, like no, unfortunately, we hate to inform you, you were not accepted. I was like, oh, right. So now a year's passed, right? So we started off in 03, now we're into 04, now into 05, and so I'm like, okay.
Your boss is thinking you're full of it now.
Well, I mean, they kind of knew what was going on. So then at this point, I said, okay, we got to regroup, right? We got to figure out a different form of attack. So for all the sales folks out there, look at what you're doing, see the results you're getting, and if you're not getting the results that you're getting, change something. You can't keep doing what you're doing,
insanity.
and then expect something else or something new to happen, right? So I went back and I said, okay, at this point, the company that I'm working for is in shambles. They're no longer around, as I stated before. So they're kind of having financial trouble. I can see the writing on the wall. And so at this point, I kind of dive full in. No friends, no going out, no nothing. My life is studying for this test, and take the exam again, do significantly better than the previous 2 times. And but this time I said, okay, I was very narrow in my approach
On who you're going to go to law school for.
San Diego only, right? So now 22 schools.
Whoo.
22 schools. I spent a good amount of money.
It's like
on
$50 an application, yeah.
At least.
At least, sometimes more.
Sometimes more. And so I said, okay, and not just California, but everywhere. So I literally took out the map, and I was like, okay, so
where am I not going to go?
So exactly. So
and these are left.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
And so, long story short, I was working. I got the call from Ohio State saying that I had been accepted. And I remember our dean asking, Mr. Case, do you think that Ohio State is a place you would want to go? And I was like, if you want me there tomorrow, I will drop everything to be there. That was my number 1 school, OH. So,
IO?
Yeah, exactly. So, long story short, get accepted, but now we have a different process because my mentality getting to law school was a little different than my classmates. I think they can all attest to this because it took me such a long time to get there that I really enjoyed law school. Like, I really tried to take...
You actually wanted to learn.
I wanted to be there.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't like there's a family expectation that you're going to be there. There wasn't like... we have generations of folks that have gone through this process, and the expectations there for you as well. Or anything like that. It was more of like, this is a choice.
It's a maturity level thing too, right? I
mean,
how were you in high school?
I was like 27 at that point.
Yeah, by that time you decided you wanted to learn.
Correct.
Like it's something that I think most people go through. I say most because some people never decide they want to learn, right? Mm-hmm. But most people get to a point where they want to better themselves, and they realize that knowledge is that way to get somewhere, right? Mm-hmm. Whatever knowledge is going to be, whether it's a trade, mm-hmm. whether it's law school, mm-hmm. but you decided this is for me. Mm-hmm. This is what I'm going to do. So now all of a sudden the content makes sense. I dropped out of college at San Diego State, mm-hmm. and I was a good student. I got A's, mm-hmm. but I didn't know what I wanted to do. I didn't care to learn. When I went back, I was like, Uncle Sam, bookkeeping? What the heck is all this? I got my degree in accounting, but I wanted to learn.
It's different, right? The mentality.
Yeah.
Once you have that shift, all of a sudden the learning is fun. Kind of like what we said, sales is fun now, right? Yeah. Because there takes a shift in your approach, a shift in sort of your psyche, your psychology as to how you're approaching things. So once I got to law school, all of a sudden it was a totally different challenge. I enjoyed the process, but it was a difficult process because it was very humbling. It's very humbling being in an environment where, like, when you hear somebody, the Socratic method, such and such case, Mr. Case,
Yeah.
what do you think about the the holding in this case? And I go, you say your answer, and then Mr. Schonauer, what do you think? And then that person
blows your answer out of the
I'm
water.
just like, exactly. And you're like, where did you even come up with that, right? Like,
Yeah.
like being in a room full of so many
Smart people.
just absolutely, brilliant folks. Folks who are doing great things now. And
But how did that elevate your game?
well, it forces you to take a different approach, right?
Yeah.
You can't just sort of skate by.
I'm not giving that kind of answer again.
Well,
Right?
not even that. It's more like I have to do better. I
Yes.
have to better myself. So the idea, whether it was coming back from Arizona to San Diego or leaving the position at C&D Motorhomes, then going to Ohio, the idea is always like, how can I improve? How can I get better? How can I do what I'm doing either more efficiently or more productively? Whatever it is, like always pushing yourself to grow. I think it's all about growth, right?
Absolutely.
To your point.
Yeah.
So from there, but again, like I said, a story of failure. So it took me 3 tries to get into law school. Then it took me a whole. I remember my first year, I was with a classmate, and he knows who he is. If he ever sees this, he knows who I'm talking about. We went into a room, and again, our dean is explaining what the process is for graduating. And I remember the dean saying, "Look, this is how it works, guys. If you can get your, I think it's 88. I want to say 88. I think it's if you get your 88 credits and you don't fail more than 2 classes, you will walk out of here with a law degree." And I was in the far back of the room, and I kind of raised my hand, and I was like, let me rephrase. I want to know if I heard you right. You're telling me if I just get my 88 credits and I can fail up to 2 classes and I can still walk out of here with a degree? She's like, Mr. Case, you're correct. And I was like, I can do this.
Yeah, I got this.
I got exactly.
I
got this, right?
Famous last words.
Totally. And so, went through the process, took my lumps, but eventually, graduate from law school. But kind of like with the real estate, I tell people, getting your real estate license is the easiest part of the game.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to be the easiest. Like, you think that's hard? Yeah, that's probably the easiest portion of the program, because once you actually get into the actual day-to-day thing, And so came back to California and started studying for the bar exam. And again, very difficult. One of the most difficult things that I've done professionally as far as passing that exam. And back then it was 3 days. Now I believe it's 2. Some folks can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it's a 2-day exam now. Back then it was 3. And so I remember, again, kind of back to the drawing board. No friends, no going out. No, it's just tunnel vision. This is the thing.
I'm going to succeed at this thing.
Yeah, but it's similar process, right? Take the exam. I get a letter from the state bar. And the way that it was back then, this is going back 8 years, so I don't know how it is now. But back then, the way that you know that you pass is you input your code into the system on the day that the score is released. You don't know your score, but if you see your name on the list, you made it. And if you put your login and it doesn't go anywhere,
you didn't make it.
So guess which one I was.
There's an error.
Yeah, exactly.
There's an error. There's an error. There's an error. No,
can we refresh? Can we reload? Can we
the error was what you were doing while you were taking the test, bro.
So I'm like, damn, I didn't pass. Okay, it is what it is. I get a letter from the state bar. I wish I kept the letter, honestly. I don't know what I did with it. But the letter stated, the synopsis or the crux of the letter was, Mr. Case, you came so close to passing that we actually had a second proctor review your exam, but unfortunately you didn't pass.
Oh my god!
Talk about hope, dude. Like
why would you even do that?
Well, because when you're on the borderline, because each exam is graded by proctor. Mm-hmm. So in an effort for fairness, they said, okay, you're on that line. Let's give it to somebody else and let somebody. I mean, you're a teacher, right?
Exactly.
Sometimes you need a set pair, like maybe the person missed something or there's something there. So evidence, by the way.
I'm just thinking instant replay, dude. Like, did you step on the line?
Yeah, exactly.
The call is gonna stay as called, right?
So so it's back to the drawing board again. So but at every stage, because you asked me the question, is this something that just came inherently to you? No, it was like with our business and our processes now, it's as a result of all of these life experiences where you try something and it doesn't work. but you keep trying.
Yeah.
You don't give up. Like, if that's something that you really want to do. So to all the folks out there, whatever it is that you're doing, doesn't matter what it is. If it's important to you, and if you value it, and if you want to give it a go, then give it your all. It, like, the one thing that I can say is you have to give it your all. The going sort of halfway, it's not going to get you the results that you want. And so took the exam, buckled down, sat down, but it was funny because at one point I had a conversation with my mom, the broker of the company now, and she said, "Well, what are you gonna do? Like, if you don't pass the exam, because I'm gearing up to take the exam again, right?" I'm like, "Oh." So she's like, "If you don't pass the exam, like, what are you gonna do?" And I distinctly remember telling her, "I will take this exam until I pass it."
There is no other option
until I pass it. That's the answer. Like, until I pass it, that's it. So whether it's 1, 2, whatever. And so took it again, passed it this time around, and decided then not to practice law.
But you set out to do something and you did it, right? I love that.
I'm over here like all this effort. Like, you tried so hard for so long to pass this test, and then you actually get it. You actually, pass the test, and you're like, "Yeah, bro, that's cool, but I'm gonna go be a real estate agent instead."
Because it was the challenge, right? In my mind, it was in 2000, because then it's 2011 by the time I get my legal license. But it goes back to that kid at 22 years old thinking, "Can I do this?" That's the challenge. Can you do it?
Can I do
it?
Right?
Would
you set yourself up to do something and you accomplish what it is you set out to do? But that's a quality that you're gonna take with you throughout whatever it is you're gonna do going forward. There's nothing gonna stop you. I'm gonna become a broker, and I'm gonna be a kick-ass broker, and I'm gonna get the business because I'm gonna provide a quality service. Like, nothing is gonna stand in my way. Not a bar exam,
not the LSAT, not my law school. No, that's as far as if I had a message to relay to folks, is we live in such an interesting time. Like, the fact that we could do this, for example, this wasn't around when I wonder if young John is out there and he's thinking about getting into TV, and he says, "You know what, screw the actual channel, I'm going to create my own. Yeah, exactly. But that wasn't around back then, right?
That wasn't an option.
So correct. So nowadays, and you have, and in that thing that's recording me right now are the answers to everything ever.
Yeah, we're part cyborgs, dude.
Right, exactly.
It's just what it is. You're attached to information, and anything you want to know, anything you want to learn, is at your fingertips.
And it's up, but here's the thing: it's up to you
to want
make
to
that
learn
decision and do it. Yeah,
to want to learn it.
Yeah, you have to.
I had stuff I can, like, I don't know. Growing up, I had encyclopedias. Like, I don't know, kids today probably don't know what that is, but it was our Google.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like, if I want to know something, like the library,
the Dewey Decimal System. Does anybody remember that?
Yeah. I mean, I couldn't search a book means you have to flip through the pages, right? But that's, again, those are just ways. Like, if you want to learn, it took a little more effort. Today, it's we're so close to being Matrix style. We're just plug it in and I'm gonna know. Right. But you have everything you need to know. Like, if I know, like, I remember one time one of our dryers broke a long time ago. And, well, I don't know, not too long, because I looked it up on YouTube and I was like, okay, what's going on? Who had similar problems? And it was something simple that I could fix, but I had no idea, but somebody else had already done it.
Right.
The knowledge is there. Do you want to know the answer? Do you want to know what comes next?
And not just that, because sometimes it's there, but are you willing to put in the work? Are you actually willing to, like, because it's there, right? It's
work.
Like, there it is. Like, there, we live in this generation where people like steps and sequences and ways of doing things. Like, there was no plan as far as me getting to be a real estate broker, right? It was more of, as things happened in my life, I took advantage of opportunities that were presented. But nowadays I see a lot of folks sort of hold themselves back because there is no manual on how to do that, so then I don't want to do it, because if I can't follow a sequence of things to get to where I want to go, then I don't know if I can do it, and therefore I don't want to try it all.
And that's just something people tell themselves, because there's manuals all over the place. Right. There's called autobiographies. You can listen to people who've done it before.
Right, absolutely.
There's actual step-by-step, online tutorials and videos and Pinterests, and the list goes on. And whatever it is you want to do, it's an opportunity. You don't have to go to law school, pass the bar exam, and decide not to do it. You can actually probably go shadow people and see if that's something you want to do. There's a lot of different options. But the tenacity that you had, the determination to get to the end game, that's what people lack. It's that effort, it's that action, it's the work that's required to do it. That's where I think most people fall off. They wait to feel like they're gonna do it, rather than just doing it. Getting that tunnel vision
Yeah.
to finish the line, to finish the job. Because we get distracted. We want to have fun. We want to go out with our friends.
Yeah.
We want to do everything other than the one thing that we got to get done to achieve our goal.
And by the way, so one of the things people always ask is like, if you kind of what James was mentioning, you went through all that, you tried so hard, you did everything, and then you decided not to practice law. But what I tell people is, number one, it was the goal. Can I do it? But then back of that was, I am eternally grateful to my legal training, because we live in a society that has rules, and very few people take the time to understand and know the rules. It's the game.
It's the game.
But you're held to the consequences of that game. So it's one of those things where if you do something that breaks the law, you will be put in jail, or there could be fine. There'll be consequences.
There will be.
And most people don't take the time to educate themselves as to how to go about in that space to both reap the benefit and avoid the potential pitfalls, right?
Yeah.
And my legal training taught me a way to think, which is invaluable, I think, especially in the business world. Part of the reason why I went to law school, not business school, because I thought about business school, was, and this is 100% true, I said at some point when I own my companies, I'm going to have to talk to attorneys, and I need to be able to speak their language. I can learn business. I can create a business. I can grow a business. I can learn business by being in business. I will never be allowed to be an attorney without the license. So I need the license, because I need to be able to speak attorney in order to talk to attorneys and be in those circles and have those conversations and understand where they're coming from.
That's funny.
So there was a thought out, methodical approach. It wasn't like, oh, well, now you don't practice law, so no, it's invaluable. What I have is invaluable. That's one of my most prized accomplishments, being a legal professional.
And this is one of the reasons why I have so many licenses, and it's the same type of thing. I mean, accounting degree, teaching credential in mathematics. I have a tax practice. I have real estate license, life insurance, all these different things. Why? Because the more I know, the more conversations I can have, and the more opportunities I see within your story, right? So anybody I sit down and talk to, when I'm asking those why questions, they see problems or concerns. I see solutions and opportunities, because I speak a different language. I can communicate. I want to put you in contact with a tax attorney that's going to help you out with your particular problem. And I can talk to that attorney and tell him exactly what you need, because I've translated your civilian talk to that tax talk, right? Or same thing with real estate or insurance, whatever it's going to be. It's just, it's some people want to learn, French or Italian. You just learned a different dialect. It's attorney.
Correct. Totally. And I use it in my business every day. It allows us to, like I said, going back to the original question, it allows me to provide a different caliber of service, just a little bit different. That's all. Yep. But it helps us to differentiate ourselves in the market where my aunt's a real estate agent, and my dad owns a brokerage, and my cousin's in mortgages, and everybody knows somebody who's somehow tied to real estate. Usually, right? It's a hop, skip, jump, and you can usually get to somebody.
Like 2 degrees of separation,
right?
Or less.
So in a market that has that much saturation, being able to provide a little bit different perspective, a little bit more creativity, solution oriented, to your point, not looking at the problems, but focusing on what can we do to help you get to where you want to go.
Right.
Has been, absolutely invaluable in my profession, in my professional career. I love it.
Well, I love listening to a Buckeye story. I mean, you can't go wrong, right? I mean, it was an incredible journey. I mean, to get to where you are today. I mean, a lot of times people only see the success that you're having now. Right. They don't see the struggles that you went through before. So I want to thank you for coming on the show and sharing that story, because, there's other people who are just getting started. Yeah. They are that 22-year-old with that dream coming up, and they don't know what it's going to take. And they're going to fall, and they're going to trip, and they're going to get up, and they're going to keep going. And, to hear stories like that where, look, it wasn't easy. No. It didn't come overnight. This success is something that comes after years of developing yourself as an individual, your knowledge base, and all that stuff. So,
dude, you worked so hard for that. Like, I'm truly impressed.
Yeah,
thank you. Truly impressed.
And in a way, disappointed, because he didn't practice law very long. No, I'm just playing.
I mean, that's your choice, but like, just the fact that you went out there and just did this just because. What? Somebody try and tell me I can't do this.
Tell me I can't do it.
Tell me I can't do it.
That's really what it was, honestly. Like, at certain points, it was like, little side note. I actually had a professor pull me aside, and this was really the trigger that kind of was like, oh man, no, this is full speed ahead. He pulled me aside and he said, after our first set of exams, I didn't do well, and he said, Mr. Case, are you sure law school's for you?
Ooh.
And I was like,
Bro.
I was like really, dude?
You know
Like,
what? That's the best thing you possibly could have said to me.
you know what?
Thank
to
you.
this day, and I've talked to my classmates about this. I have good friends that we've had this conversation before. I want to give him the benefit of the doubt. I don't know if he was trying to light a fire under my ass or he was just trying to be kind of just a hard ass. But regardless of what the motivation was, it was that point, especially in law school, that all of a sudden was like, okay, dude, no, like, I'm gonna show you. Yeah, this is for me. I chose to be here.
That's right.
Like I made the decision to
Tell
be
me
here.
I can't do it. Just tell me I can't.
So there you
do it.
go, folks. You know.
All right, John, look at this camera right here. I want you to tell people how to get a hold of you because you probably think you know your insurance contract. I bet I know an attorney who really knows it.
Okay.
Or sorry, your real estate contract.
Real estate
Yeah. But insurance too, probably.
So guys, if you're trying to get a hold of me, super easy. At Consult by Case on Instagram, on YouTube, Snap. Just got my TikTok account, so maybe you can look for me there. We're at DuomoRealEstate.com, and my direct line is 858-776-5761.
Boom. And then you can like point down if people want to see. It's right there. Your banner's below you at some point. James throws it on there.
It's there.
It's there. The last little segment we usually do is Ask the Bros.
Okay.
So I'm going to let you think of a question while I'll tell people about our 365 pairs of shoes. So if you got new shoes, used shoes, or you want to donate cash, you got to hit James up 619-884-0045 or James at csfirst.com. He'll ride over on his Harley and pick up those shoes. We're at 264, so we're really close, getting
Ladies
closer to
and
that
gentlemen,
80%
we are
marker.
this close.
This close.
This close.
Depending on where you're holding those fingers up. So, this close. And of course, for all your solar needs, make sure you guys go to dronequote.net/business bros. Make sure you guys use the /business bros because you don't want to sit through a bunch of long presentations. You want to harness that power of the sun and you want to do it as easy as possible. So dronequote.net/business bros.
And if you don't use the business bros, then we don't get credit for it. And you don't want that.
Yeah, you want to hook us up. Come on, hook us up.
Help us out.
So dronequote.net/business bros. Get your quotes all in one spot. Make it simple. Don't sit through long presentations. You don't want to do that. And of course, if you have any insurance needs, James can help you out. Home, auto, commercial, whatever it is that you need. Or maybe you want to add insurance into your business. Increase your bottom line, especially when the market changes. You never know what's going to happen. So you want to make sure your overhead gets covered with the existing book of business.
Can I say it the way I like to say it?
Say it.
So it's to help you create wealth today and generational wealth for tomorrow.
Boom. See?
Aha.
We always got these little things. He drops them in there.
it.
All right. Ask the bros.
So the one question I had, number one, I want to thank you for having me on the platform. I very much appreciate that.
Thank you for coming on board.
And I'm very impressed with kind of how things go. So what was the motivation for this? Like as far as you know, the grind of, you know, episode after episode, coming up with content, putting yourself out there in front of the camera, all this. What was kind of what and working with family? Trust me, I know it's not easy. So
He owed me.
This is true.
So like, what was it that really sort of what was the point? What was the motivation?
Yeah. So you know, at the time I was actually selling real estate. I haven't sold myself. I've been doing more referral based.
Mm-hmm.
But at the time I was selling real estate. We were building the insurance company at the same time, and I was just thinking, we got to find a way to get in front of more people and tell them what it is we do. Mm-hmm. So we started the podcast, but for like 6 months, nobody listened, nobody cared. Mm-hmm. And we started interviewing people. The only thing is I kind of made a mistake and interviewed real estate agents. So it's kind of hard to sell real estate to real estate agents, but we took it as an opportunity to turn around and sell insurance. Mm-hmm. So that's where we ended up going with it. The why, I think I have to credit people like Gary Vee and Tim Harris podcasts that I listened to that it basically said, you know, you're in control of your brand and you have a brand, whether you like to know it or accept it or not. Mm-hmm. And so the more information you put out there, the more likely it is that people will see it. And you're like one viral video away from taking off.
Gotcha.
Right. And so that's really what it comes down to. We were talking earlier about how, you know, Instagram becomes marketing, Facebook becomes marketing. And I heard Gary Vee say, if there's anything cool, a good marketer will make that into a sales pitch, right? It'll turn into something you don't want to listen to. Well, I mean, that's what it's coming down to. You know, we've kicked some butt in Facebook. We've kicked some butt in Instagram. We're now hitting up LinkedIn, and I'm starting to work on some TikTok stuff because, again, it's something fun. We just got to get in front of more people and tell them what does he do. As far as bringing him on board, well, he jumped ship on me. Well, he jumped ship onto a ship, joined the Navy, and bounced on our first business. And so when he got back, I was like, come with me, my friend.
I got a plan.
Well, the first question was, what are you gonna do when you get out? He's like, I don't know. I go, I got you. Come with me. And so, you know, that's how I dumped him into insurance, and now he pretty much runs all the day-to-day operations in our agency. And then I said, we're starting a podcast, and we're gonna do it every day. Just had to commit, right? Yeah. And even you know, the wife and then everybody's like, what are you doing, man? Tell me I can't. Right? Tell me I can't.
Isn't that powerful?
It's powerful.
It's like, tell me I can't do it.
You know,
boom.
Last December, we went to a Christmas party with Big Block. And at the time, we had barely done like 1 or 2 interviews. So, you know, we got invited. And nobody knew who we were. And when we left, I told him, I go, watch. Next year, everyone's going to know who we are. That event's coming up first week of December, and then like there's nothing gonna stop me from going over there and shaking so many hands with people that have been on the show. It's just like, tell me I can't, right? I'm gonna make it happen. So that's really the thing behind it now.
Well, perfect, excellent, guys. Congratulations.
You want to add to that?
Nope. You pretty much said it all.
Oh, I thought you were going to drop the generational wealth line. No, I'm just playing.
I already did that.
All right, ladies and gents.
But it does allow us to do that other thing, which is to spread positivity.
Absolutely.
Which is the other thing that I'm inspired to do.
So, and honestly, this thing has helped us out so much. Like, it's for us, it was business therapy. Our insurance agency is better. Our producers get much more help from us. Our business has grown tremendously just in the conversations that we've had, the communications that we have on a regular basis. I mean, it's been amazing for us individually in our own practices, and then on top of that, like we've helped so many people get their message out. So it's like you can't not want to do it.
It's a win-win-win.
It's a win-win-win.
Yeah,
so
perfect.
All right, ladies and gents, John, thanks for coming on the show,
pleasure
man.
for having me, guys. Thank you so much.
That's all we got for you guys today. Peace.
Bye-bye.
And we're out. Spread positivity.
Nice.
See you, Facebook.